Well, just today we're going to talk about, I think, basically breaking down tips, tricks, products, things that we have found that helped us on our carnivore journey and made just life a little bit simpler for us. And I don't know which direction we want to start with. I don't know. I kind of feel like just like tips and tricks and things that helped us when we started our journey might be the best and the most helpful, because a lot of the people that we're, talking to are not started or just beginning. So does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
The most useful thing I had as a new carnivore, and still as a less new carnivore, is two things. An extra freezer, so I could buy meat in bulk, and so I could like make things and then save them for later if I didn't have a meal prepped. And then the second thing that's equally important is an air fryer, for sure. I use that thing every dang day.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to bring this a little closer. I was a little reluctant to getting an air fryer because I'm like, oh, it's just like one more thing to get, one more thing to have. But that thing's been life-changing, especially like it's such easy cleanup too. If you don't want grease splattering all over your stove. So I agree with you on that. I'll just chime in then. And since we're talking about kitchen tools, I'll just rattle off some of mine. I mean, besides the grill, I never really grilled before eating this way. Like my husband would just handle any grilling. So I love that. I love like the fire hitting it and all that like charbroiled flavor. So for me, grill, if you're cooking on the stove, I would use cast iron, air fryer, and then an Instant Pot. That thing is amazing. So, I mean, crock pots are great too if you remember to start it in the morning. Instant Pot is like for people that forget to start their crock pot. And the good thing with Instant Pot is you can put things in that are frozen. So you wouldn't want to do that with your crock pot because it's so slow that it would like the food's going to be in like the unsafe area. So you don't want to do that. But for the Instant Pot, it's awesome. I do a lot of things frozen. So those are my favorite tools.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something and I completely forgot it. I eat a ton of ground beef. And one of those mixers, it's like a chopper. Do you know what I'm talking about? It has like multiple.
That breaks it up.
Yeah, like slats. And I use that every day, pretty much at least once a day, if not more. So I really loved getting that. I got that after I started carnivore because I was like, I need that. Also, I'm going to notate, some people like have asked some questions. There is actually a questions box in the bottom. You'll see like the little, it's like almost like a bubble with the question mark in it. If you guys have questions, pop them in there and then we'll like address them at the end. And then definitely the air fryer. Courtney is getting me into pressure cooking. I just started pressure cooking my meat because of her. I prefer it over the air fryer, but there's just something about like popping a burger patty in the air fryer, or just like even some steak that you're like, shoot, I don't know what else to do with this. And I love that. So I used the air fryer before I went carnivore, but not nearly as much. We use it at least twice a day here. And I have the Ninja Foodie one that is like the pressure cooker, the crock pot, the air fryer, the dehydrator, all the things. So yeah.
I wanted to tag along to Courtney's point about the frozen food in the Instant Pot. So I actually mostly cook my meat from frozen in my air fryer, specifically steaks. It's perfect because they can cook in like 15 to 20 minutes, and then the inside is still kind of rare to medium rare because it was frozen, but the outside is brown and crispy, and I never have to think about pre-thawing or anything like that. So yeah, anything you can do from frozen, so easy.
Yeah, I actually do. I have a video on this where you take like a tri-tip or any like big roast, I guess you can, but I prefer tri-tip because it would be a little bit more tender. And you just cut it into chunks and have it in the freezer, and you cook from frozen. Like you said, it has that enough time so when it's frozen, it can stay in there longer. That way the outside can get all like crispy and brown and yummy, and the inside is perfectly medium rare. So yeah, that thing's great for frozen too, for quicker items. You don't want to put like a slow roast thing in there.
Okay. Is that it for kitchen tools? I mean, a grill is obviously super nice. I feel like everyone could use a grill, but you don't have to. I think the Instant Pot and the air fryer is definitely a little bit more functional for people, especially people who are like living in apartments or big cities. So
I do use a couple of other things, but I don't want people to think you have to go buy all this stuff because that is not necessary. You don't even have to have an instant or a air fryer, but it's so useful. But I mean, I use like a NutriBullet with my coffee in the morning. I do use a dehydrator because mine's not like a 2-in-1 thing like yours. Make jerky and things like that for travel. And I use like a food processor sometimes, depending on what I'm making. But those things, you know, they're useful, especially if you already have them. Not necessary, but handy.
what about you, Courtney? Anymore? You're the chef. You're the chef here. So
Well, I'm not allowed to call myself that according to some people on the internet. But yeah, I love like an immersion stick blender for sauces and stuff. Mine came with like a smaller food processor, so that's nice for whipping up sauces and butter, mayo, and all that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I use a lot. I mean, it can be so simple, but yeah, if you want those gadgets, it's helpful, but I think that's it on my end.
okay, yeah, I'm good with the kitchen gadgets. That's like, I think it's pretty direct. There's only so many kitchen. Oh, a meter, like a meat meter.
Like a thermometer?
What?
A thermometer?
Yeah, well, I call mine, the one that I use is called the meter, like MEATER, and it's a Bluetooth meter. And so basically you just put it in your waffle iron. That's a good one too.
And ice cream maker. Fuck, how could you forget that? Jeez.
Speaking
it
of
talked about what's his, Dr. Kiltz just joined, and I got my ice cream recipes like based off of his little recipe inspiration. So that's awesome.
Thanks for joining, Dr. Kiltz. Yeah, the meter is the ice cream maker, the waffle, whatever that is, and then the meter that I use, the thermometer, it hooks up to your phone. You select what steak or meat you're cooking, and then what temperature you want it to be, and literally you walk away and it tells you when it's done. Like you just leave it in there and it'll beep on your phone and it's like 2 minutes left, you know? So I highly recommend that. It is a little bit of an investment, but I use it every single time I cook steak, and you can use it in the air fryer, the pressure cooker, the oven, on a pan, on a cast iron, in the air fryer, in the slow cooker. So I highly recommend that. And this is all, I don't know if you guys have these, but I have all of these things in a bubble on my page called favorite products. So it's in there. Just FYI, if anyone wants to look up the meter, because I don't see a lot of it on here. So
yeah, that's a good point. I have all my stuff saved. Like in my link in bio, you can see like shop my favorites. So I have all the things that I like to use in there too, if that makes it easier for somebody.
Okay, so I love talking about snacks and stuff. So we want to hop to those things that might be super helpful for people to, I feel like especially, someone just asked, can you please recommend snack recommendations? So I feel like especially for people who are starting, because you do kind of get that surge of hunger when you're switching from probably a standard diet to carnivore. I remember being super hungry all the time. I needed a snack. So, sorry, I'm trying to wave and say hi to everyone. Hi, Tyler.
Yeah, I would just say on the snacking thing, I mean, I would try and still, you can have those snacky foods, but I would try and keep it to having your meals and not be snacking all day. I feel like eating this way makes that easier too, that you can go longer in between meals. So I would be hesitant on using them as snacks. More, I would think of them more as on the go foods. When I was driving to Palm Springs yesterday, I brought Carnivore Snacks with me, and that was my breakfast. So instead of mindlessly snacking, just have them be more of an easy go-to grab food, I guess. I don't know, just another way to think about it. Yeah, a lot of people aren't snacking.
I agree. And someone mentioned just a few comments ago that carnivore snacks are so expensive, and oh my gosh, they are. So there are a few things that I have made for myself. I've shared for jerky. So you do have to have a dehydrator for that. Although I think you can do it in the oven as well. I've just never done it. But you can buy any cut of meat for that, and the butcher will cut it into jerky-sized strips for you for free. I prefer fattier cuts for jerky because I like it to be softer, fattier. So even like a brisket when it's on sale, I'll cut that up or have them cut it up and throw it in the dehydrator. And recently, I tried my hand at making pemmican, which would be like a carnivore bar, and it's not delicious. Okay, it's more nutritious than delicious, but I'm leaving for Montana tonight for a week, and so I needed something that I could hike with and have in a pinch that's high fat. So I found when you're really hungry, it's not so bad. If you're not hungry, it's more like blech.
Yeah, if you're using it truly for fuel. What?
I said Courtney loves them.
You do carnivore bars?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
See,
no,
I have a carnivore bar. I mean, this is what I don't want to open it just because it's so expensive that I hate to wait. Like, literally, it's like my son will ask them and I'm like, oh no. Like, we don't just eat these. So it's just a bar, and then basically inside is, I mean, it's just dried dehydrated steak with the lard from what you cooked, you know, like from like, I don't know. Can you use butter? It's like clarified butter. No, it's
just tallow.
Tallow. Yeah. Okay.
So
it's just tallow.
They're good in a pinch. Like, it's great to like have on hand, like in an emergency, but I'd rather go like to In-N-Out or even just get a patty from any fast food than have that. I don't want to knock them because I mean, it's great for people. It just wasn't for me, and it's not for everybody.
It's like not that. It's the food itself. See, I like don't like, I'm not obsessed, but I definitely don't mind them. And the thing is like something like this is a whole meal. This is 400 calories. So like, this is not like, oh, I'm going to snack on a carnivore bar. Like, you can probably not finish this because this is so, it's almost like delectable and rich because it's so fatty. But I think that these are perfect for like when you're in the middle of Montana and you can't get anything else to eat, right?
Yeah, if I'm on an 8-hour hike and there's no food, it'll be perfect.
Yeah. Okay, another thing, I think Courtney, I think you both like these. I have a bag of Carnivore Crisps too. These are like if I only had to pick one, it would be like a Carnivore Crisp. I mean, you could totally make these yourselves. I just don't. I just think you can make recipes out of them, but if you eat a whole bag, it's, you know, a couple hundred calories. So I think Courtney, you can eat, that's like what you do when you're on the go.
So I'm looking for a bag. There's not one within reach. I like the crisp too, and I also like the Carnivore Snacks. They're just both a little different. Like, I would go to the crisp if you're looking for like more of a super crunchy chip. Yeah. Whereas the snacks, they call themselves like meat pastries, and there is like a crunch to it. I had the sliders yesterday, and it almost reminded me. They're round, and it reminded me almost of like, it looked like a bean chip or like a blue corn tortilla chip, and there was a crunch to them, but just like soft, not chewy. So those are awesome. Yeah. Do you eat those at all, Jen?
No, I've never tried them actually, but I wanted to mention, I really like jerky. And so now I just make my own just with salt. It's great. But if you don't want to make your own and you can't find jerky that doesn't have sugar and all the other crap, because it's impossible basically to find, there is one brand on Amazon. It's called People's Choice, and it's like $30 for a bag, but it's pretty good in a pinch. So I'd recommend it.
Okay, yeah, and that's going to be a different texture. Obviously, people have had jerky. It's a little chewy. Another good option for meat sticks would be like a chomp stick. Usually has some spices in it. I know they have plain ones with just salt and pepper, but that's good too. Just another like shelf-stable snack to have.
Yeah, I like the chomps. Hi, Joy. I like love these. I hated them when I was keto. Hated them. And now that my tastes have changed, I am obsessed with them. I don't overindulge, but they definitely are like something nice to have when you're just like looking for a crunch too. And then I think like my number one, not snack, but like product is the Redmond's Relight. This one is flavored. I won't buy the flavored again. But you can get unflavored. And I just think for electrolytes, I just like love I don't know. I just love having like it scooped. It's like one scoop, you're done. I know it's enough. If I'm having a really tough workout, I'll do 2 scoops just to like get me through and get those electrolytes in. So that is like that's my favorite one to kind of get me through carnivore. I don't know. That's like my go-to.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that as a snack, the Relight, because it is a necessity for me. I get such cramps every night if I don't use it every day.
You get what cramps? It cut out.
Cramps at night in my legs and stuff.
Oh, leg cramps? Okay,
Yeah.
so that would be like the magnesium.
Yes.
I get that sometimes too if and I don't take a magnesium every day, but I find like I'll take it every so often, and when I stretch and get a leg cramp, like, okay, there's the magnesium. So that's another good thing to bring up then is like the electrolytes, especially when you're first getting started. I mean, I see a lot of people that don't even do that. They're just having beef, salt, and water, and they're fine, but obviously everybody's different. So I think it's important to pay attention to your electrolytes in the beginning, or at least just notice how you're feeling, and if something feels off, then you can dig more into like where your electrolytes are at. So for me, that would be salt, magnesium, and potassium. That would be like my go-tos. I salt the shit out of everything, so I don't need to worry about that, but maybe like occasionally having a magnesium pill if you need it. And there's like 3 different ones. So I don't know, just something to like have on your mind if you're starting out and you get the cramps or you're tired, that those can help too.
Yeah, and there's also topical magnesium sprays, which I have not, but that's next on my list because I'm still, like, if I'm not super diligent with the ingesting of the electrolytes, I'm still getting cramps. So I want to try something topical as well.
Yeah, I actually been seeing that a lot lately, and I haven't tried it before either. It sounds cool.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, report back because I'm like, I don't get like, I get sore after working out, but I don't get crampy. But I would be interested if it helps your crampiness. I'd be interested to see if I like did a really tough workout and then, yeah, she's taurine, but that's in raw meat. But hi, Nicole. Sorry, I'm just trying to like make sure we shout out to everyone who joins. Another thing that someone already asked in the comments when we started, how to curb sugar cravings, which I think that's like a whole topic, but I feel like a lot of times I would get it when I was eating dinner, and I don't know, sparkling water like does it for me. Like just having like a sparkling water just helps my sugar craving. I don't get them anymore, but it did help. We love you too, Nicole. It did help when I was first starting out. Like it was just like that sensation of drinking something other than straight up water because you cut out everything pretty much. So I don't know if you guys like sparkling water too.
Yeah, I recently, oh, sorry, Jen. I tried the Liquid Death and what was the other one? Something like Mountain Valley or something that I see a lot about. But yeah, I think it's just fun to once in a while have the bubbles or just have something different, a little like different texture, I guess, just to liven things up a little bit.
Yeah, same. I really love Topo Chico, just unflavored, just that full the bubbliness in your mouth. It feels like a treat. But I will say I struggled a little bit at the beginning of my carnivore life when I did more of the flavored bubbly waters because there's just a hint of sweetness. And if I have anything sweet, it just makes me crave sweet. So that's flavored electrolytes, those flavored bubbly waters, anything with any kind of artificial sweetener. Once I cut all that out, now I truly have no sugar cravings.
Yeah. And back to the sugar cravings, like if you are getting those, I mean, first just give it like a few weeks. The first couple weeks might be rough in many different areas as your body adjusts, but just make sure, at least for me, I know like if I'm having a lot of fat and salt, like that really takes the edge off. Or if I'm like cutting my kids' fruit, I'm like, oh, that sounds like really good. It's more of like the juiciness, I feel like. So it's almost like a thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to put some salt and water and drink that because I must be a little bit thirsty. Yeah, put it in a wine glass.
I was like laughing at that. Yeah. I don't notice. I do the flavored ones. I do drink regular sparkling water too. I like love giving these to my kiddos though, because it's like they feel like they're drinking something really special and it's just water. So I don't find that I get cravings, but I will definitely not buy flavored Relight again. Like, I guess I didn't, this is like from when I started carnivore. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy the flavored ones. And now I'm kind of like, I don't drink them all the time anymore. But yeah, I don't recommend anything with stevia because someone asked that. So is it okay to sweeten my coffee with stevia? I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't drink stevia if I had a choice. I think stevia, because the thing about putting stevia in coffee is that usually it's just not like a little bit. It's like a packet and then another packet. So I feel I put half and half in my coffee because I don't like whole cream, like whole whipping cream. And it just like is so like flavorful to me now. I don't sweeten my coffee with anything at all, ever anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even just having that stuff, at least for me, like, because when I was like keto or lower carb, I would always use like a sugar-free Torani syrup, not even giving a shit like what the ingredients were, you know? So I feel like eating this way has me more mindful of the ingredients or lack thereof. So I don't want to be putting that in my body. And I also don't want that to be triggering more sugar cravings. It's just going to keep prolonging any cravings for that.
I think for people that are like, if I can't have sweet coffee, I'm not doing coffee. For those people, maybe the stevia is a good bridge to eventually kind of wean off of the sugary chemical syrup. But ideally, you get away from it because it's going to make being a carnivore a lot harder.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like a lot of people don't. I think Courtney and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago where it's like a smoker. Like, you tell a smoker will tell you when they stopped, the taste of food literally just like it changes. Like, it changes. And when you are going from carb addiction, sugar addiction, and you cut that out of the diet, your taste buds, it completely changes. Like, you are not tasting food or coffee or bitterness the same way that you were when you were having these over palatable foods. And it's like, I think back to when I was keto and I couldn't even eat these because I hated the taste. They were just so pungent and gross to me, but I was also having like a lot of keto treats. And so now I'm like, oh my God, these are so delectable and delicious, and it's just cheese. You know what I mean? So I know it's really hard to picture when you're eating a standard diet or, hey, Eric, you're eating a standard diet and eating hyper palatable foods, but your taste buds really do change. And things like coffee will taste super delicious to you. The bitterness isn't as strong when you're on carnivore, in my opinion.
Yeah, and speaking of like taste buds, like, so we're out of town right now and I'm eating what I can as far as like meat. So I had like sausage and chorizo last night for like the first time. I don't use any spices. I know some people do, but I was like, gosh, like I would used to like love this and it tastes okay, but I'm like, I'm fine with just tasting the meat, like just having the meat and whatever fat and some salt. Like, I would prefer this way over what I'm eating right now. And I could tell that like one of the chickens like probably had a marinade on it. You couldn't see it, but like there was some flavor. And I was just like, God, I'm just like not into that anymore. And this is coming from someone who cooked for a living with a million ingredients. Like, it sounds crazy to say like I don't need garlic and onions and all that anymore. Like, my taste buds are just alive and everything just tastes amazing on its own.
Someone said add salt to your coffee, it's less bitter. Yeah, that is absolutely true. I did that when I started carnivore, and I don't have to do it anymore because it doesn't bother me. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but salt like combats bitterness. So I would just like sprinkle a little bit of sea salt, mix it in, and it like it takes away the bitterness. The bitterness doesn't actually bother me anymore. I didn't have to do that too long, but it's a tip, and it's a good way to get electrolytes in too.
Yeah, true. So I mostly do a little heavy cream and like browned butter in my coffee. So there's a little salt from that. And whatever that mixture is of the salt, the butter, the cream, it's delicious. And in the NutriBullet, then it's like all bubbly and frothy. Feels like Starbucks, but
Yeah,
better.
that sounds awesome.
And way less expensive. Okay, I think we should talk. I know like it's super fun to talk about products. Have you ever tried adding the brown butter frozen trees to your coffee? Is that what you do, Jen? Yeah, I haven't. I probably need to.
Yeah, it's good. It's better obviously when it's hot. I tried to make it And an iced one. It's chunky.
Someone said just had chorizo as a snack. Oh, hey, and can't tolerate the spices anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like noticed that too, like Courtney, like I very rarely, I tried the Teton sausages from Costco. Bella from Steak and Butter Gal recommends them because they're super clean. The taste was so pungent to me because they have some really clean seasonings in there, but it was so pungent to me, I couldn't eat them. I ate half of one and gave the rest to my kids because I was like, I can't eat this. It was like a hot dog on crack. Like I just couldn't do it.
I'm actually surprised she's eating that.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she feeds them more to she feeds like she like hand feeds them to her boyfriend. I know her boyfriend is a little bit more flexible with the seasonings, but I know that it was her recommendation. And I was like shocked at how pungent they were to me. And I use seasonings occasionally. Like I use like sometimes garlic powder, and onion powder, but not recently I haven't, and because I'm trying to get more out of that. And yeah, holy smokes, it was super, I couldn't eat them. They were super strong.
Yeah, it's crazy how much your taste buds adjust once in a while. Well, not once in a while. I get Flying Dutchmans from In-N-Out often, but once in a while, a rogue grilled onion sneaks in there, and oh, I thought Jeff was laughing at me. And it's like, I said this on TikTok, alarming, and people are like that I'm freaking out over it, but it's like, you're not used to that flavor, and all of a sudden it was so intense. And I used to love grilled onions. Like I would eat the hell out of those things. And now I was like, whoo, one, just like, I'm good without having all that stuff now.
Jen, do you use seasonings?
No, just salt really. And like
Yeah.
you all, now it's like I just crave and love the taste of the meat and the fat so much. But I mean, when I do eat out or have to get something at a gas station or whatever, of course it has some seasonings. And I feel like I don't feel as well after. I'm a little more puffy or whatever. In fact, somebody asked like 20 minutes ago, what have we done for inflammation? And I'm telling, like, cutting out all this seasoning and stuff, seasonings and stuff helps a ton with that inflammation and puffiness.
Yeah, someone asked what product was pungent. I was talking about at Costco, they have this brand called Teton's sausages. They're Polish sausages, and they're super clean. It's grass-fed organic beef. And they have it's only like 3 or 4 seasonings, but the seasonings were so pungent. Like my eyes started watering. I couldn't finish it. It was just too much for me. But if you aren't strict about that, then I wouldn't. You're probably okay to eat that.
So I just want to say a comment I saw, and we don't need to go into this too much because I know we're going to talk to Jen about this specifically at a later time. But someone said that they're starting, I think it said they're starting today or they started this week, and they suffer from psoriasis. And that's what you had, Jen, right?
Yeah, that's right. Since I was 7 years old.
And yours went away by eating this way. So that's awesome. Hopefully they get those same results too.
Jen, I did not know it was that young. Like I knew you had it for quite a bit, but I wasn't aware that it was like literally in your adolescence.
My entire life, basically.
Oh my goodness. So were you ever on steroid creams? I probably shouldn't ask this. Just save it for our later. Like, did they?
We'll get into all this later, but anything you can be on, I was on.
Okay. All right. BTW, we will have a very exciting conversation with Jen and her psoriasis, not on here, somewhere else, coming out in the future.
Gout.
Oh, but don't you know that you're going to get gout?
No, she's saying they're doing this to get rid of her.
No, I know, but everyone's gonna, everyone tells me that I'm going to get gout by doing this. So
yeah, no, that's the carbs and the sugar. So sorry, but today is day 5 for my boyfriend who suffers from gout.
How is he feeling?
Yeah, keep us posted on that. I'd love to hear how that journey with him goes, because my understanding is it's the carbs and the sugar, and just having the meat, like that's not going to cause gout. And people do this to reverse their gout. So please keep us posted on that.
Alcohol with gout too. Keep us posted on that because he was having a flare up when he started. Is it gone down? Hey, Crystal.
I'll mention about gout just because I'm reading about it right now in a book from Dr. Annette Bosworth. And it seems like I am not an expert on this, okay, but what I'm reading is the crystals that create the gout, they're building up and up and up from the carbs and sugar, like you said, Courtney. And then when you stop eating that, it kind of like stirs it up a little and it starts releasing. And so it may cause people to flare at first, but that's like part of the healing. But when people start carnivore and they're like, oh my God, it gave me gout, it's likely that, from what I'm reading.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's someone told me, like, we talked about this last night, Courtney. King Louis died from gout, and he was like a big meat eater. And so everyone will say, like, oh, King Louis like died from gout, but he was also a severe alcoholic, like severe. So yeah, it's just interesting to see what people blame the meat for when the sugar from the alcohol is doing it. So he's bored. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, until your like taste buds, I feel like I remember being like, I don't want to eat any more beef. Like, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, don't force it, and just, have a different, if he's bored, like, have a different cut of meat, have a different type of cheese, prepare the meat differently, have ground beef, have burger, there's a lot of different animals you can have. I know we're primarily eating beef, because ruminant animals are going to be ideal. So if you do like lamb or bison, or have some chicken, if you need to mix it up, have some seafood, like that's all okay. I would just be more, if it were me, more heavy on the red meat. And someone said day 7 for me and my fibromyalgia flares are 90% better. That's so amazing.
Cindy, that's awesome. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Someone else, their foot peeled off, or the callus on their foot peeled off. Yeah, and I've even heard of like skin tags falling off, which I'm waiting for, because I like grew some skin tags while I was pregnant, and I'm waiting for them to fall off, and I hear that they do. I forget why. I feel like I just read this. Something with like the insulin, I think. I don't know.
Dr. Ken Berry has a lot of videos on skin tags. So that's like a great place to consult like a professional for anyone who might be wondering about that. Gout is painful as childbirth. I can't even imagine. I literally can't even imagine how painful.
That makes me want to like dive more deeper into that, because I don't know much about gout besides people calling me the gout queen.
Yeah, can you please stay in touch with us about that? Because that's like not something I've heard a lot about in this space. And I feel like it'd be great to have like an actual, like someone who actually is, working to cure it with a carnivore diet, because that's just like, that's one thing I've really not heard of anyone addressing with carnivore. Yeah, willing to try anything. Okay,
Mrs. Grown Kawaii. I'm going to write that down so I can stalk you and make sure we know what's going on.
Okay, let's answer some of the questions. Cindy asked, do we eat organ meats? I don't eat them regularly, like all the time. We have a grocery store that carries Force of Nature, what is it? Restorative farming. Is that regenerative farming? They are a company that only buys meat from regenerative farmers, and they have an organ meats blend, and we will do that occasionally. It's just really expensive. And we will make meatballs out of them. We'll make meatloaf. And I like to do that because it's actually like, it sounds gross, it's really juicy and delicious. Like when you mix organ meats into something, it's like really, it's just really like fatty and juicy in my opinion. I don't know. Courtney, you make organ meat stuff sometimes, so.
Yeah, let me just see. Okay, can I add a link here to a friend of mine who does YouTube carnivore videos who has battle gout? Yes, please. And then can you DM that to me, and I'll share it with these girls on here too, just so because these comments are going to go away when we're done.
I'm going to take a screenshot of the last
so if
two
you
comments.
Can DM. Okay, and then look into Stephanie Pearson's videos on gout. She has a wealth of information. Okay.
Okay, I took a screenshot of that too, so we could see those comments.
Okay. And then, so back to the organ meat. Yeah. So my understanding, especially like hearing this from Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker, is they're not necessary. People can thrive without them. That being said, they are like nutrition packed. So I would, have them here and there if you like them. I have ground up my own liver and put them into burgers. And I've had liver and heart twice on its own, and I don't love it. It's fine. It's tolerable. A lot of people even like chop it into like bitty size pieces and just swallow them like you're taking pills, or they have supplements you can get of different organs and organ blends.
I don't eat organs at all. I really have my whole time. I tried liver and I hated it. But this question someone just asked, should you get rid of blood work? In my opinion, maybe every 6 months to a year, just so you're keeping an eye on things, but you don't need to do certainly any more than that. And just be prepared that what should happen if you have a baseline, your triglycerides should go down, your HDL should go up, and your LDL probably will go up, but it's not a big deal. So just, if your total cholesterol is up, it's likely because your HDL went up, which is a great thing.
And just to add on to that, I would also, when you're getting blood work, I guess I don't know much about this, but I think you can have them do a more in-deep stuff on the cholesterol, and you can like check the particle sizes, because the particle sizes is like comes into play. So it's so much more that goes into it than just like the simple numbers too. So yeah, see if they can do the particle sizes as well.
So a couple things. It's Julie. She's awesome. She's actually, you're from Ireland, yeah? She's a butcher in Ireland, if I remember correctly. She is the one who told me, I got a nasty comment on YouTube telling me that I'm unsanitary when I cook because I don't wash my meat. She told me, you do not ever wash your meat if you're cooking it properly, because that's where the contamination comes in when you slap it all over your kitchen. So
yeah, especially chicken. Don't wash chicken.
That's what she said. The trick is to soak it in cream. She said to soak liver in heavy cream. I'm going to try that because that actually sounds really good. She knows what she's talking about.
Bruno. Okay. Bruno's channel. I just joined his Facebook group because if you haven't heard of the whole like 80-20 trend that's going on right now of raising your fat, I'm in his group to like learn a little more about that. So I'm not very active, but I didn't realize he had a YouTube channel. So that has information on gout, right?
It's Julie is the one in Ireland. I'm pretty sure, wait for her to respond. I'm pretty sure that's where she's from, but I don't want to. Okay, she's from the US. She just commented if you want to ask her. So, and she has a degree in animal products and food science. Oh my God. I need to talk to you more. Yeah, I'm going to send you a message. Okay. I want to have a chat with her. Awesome. So inspired by this info. Yeah, totally. Another thing that I will say about the cholesterol, and Jen, you did a really in-depth story about this. My understanding from everything that I've learned is that as long as your triglycerides are low and your HDL is high as well, it does not matter what your LDL is, because it's the ratio, not the individual numbers.
Yeah, and like Courtney said, the particle size is important, but if your HDL is high and your triglycerides are low, that indicates that your particle size is good.
And do you want your particle size to be big or small?
Big.
I can't remember.
It's big. Jeff,
Okay.
particle size, you want it big, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because, okay, so sorry. He used this analogy. Yeah, say you have your car, all the windows and doors are shut. If you pour sand in through the sunroof, that's going to be hard to get out. But if you pour in balls, like kid balls or whatever, that's going to, when you open the door, that's going to come out easier. So bigger is better.
How high and how low? Isn't the number for for high cholesterol, the LDL, they'll say is high, what is it, 200 is the baseline now, which is, it used to be 300. They
just changed it, right?
It used to be 300, but it has to have changed within the last couple years though, because when I went in 2 years ago, I had a 213 LDL, and she was like, oh my God, your cholesterol's high. But my HDL was astronomical. And my best friend's a doctor, and he's like, you're so healthy.
I think if she's specifically asking how high and how low for the HDL and triglycerides, triglycerides under 45 is so good, but that's pretty low. So anything around there, 40, 50, 60 is really good. HDL, how high? I don't know what the cutoff is that the doctors that I'm listening to and learning from that are telling me this information. I can't remember exactly what they said for HDL, but I want to say it was something like over 60 for sure, maybe even a little higher, like over 70.
I was going to say when I had good cholesterol, I hate even saying good and bad cholesterol because it's not at all what it is. My HDL was 78. And I remember my best friend was like, holy smokes, like you're like healthy as a horse. And I was like, I know. Okay. Sorry, there's just a lot of questions. Blood work is great for baseline and source for comparison. Yeah, blood work is great to keep like track to see if you're getting worse or not, but I just feel like blood work isn't the end all be all. Like, how do you feel? If you have low vitamin C on a carnivore diet, that's standard. You probably should have lower vitamin C because you don't need as much, but compared to everyone else, they're going to tell you that you're sick. You know what I mean? Thanks, Jen. Okay, I think we got caught up on the questions and the feeds. Sorry, guys, I can't see the camera. Do you eat organ meats? Any snacks? We went through that. Don't sweeten your coffee if you don't have to, maybe just starting out. How do you cure a sweet tooth other than butter treats? I cannot eat those. I mean, I think we covered that with the just like kick it to the curb and it will go away. I know that's like not a sexy answer, but it works.
Yeah, have a glass of salt water to get through it, but not too much because you'll shit yourself.
Don't products or it will never go away.
Okay, and then what kind of meats do you combine to make ground beef? Well, I would just buy ground beef, but you can make like a mixture of ground like meats together. Like I love ground beef and ground pork together.
Don't fall off the wagon. Why do you have to fall off the wagon? I wouldn't even, I mean, for me, I have no desire to do that anymore because I just know that I'm going to feel shitty. So, I mean, why do you want to fall off the wagon?
Yeah, I did carnivore a while ago before this time. This time I've been 9 months, no cheating. It's been wonderful. But before that, I did it kind of, and it was the worst I've ever been, where I eat a little bit of cheats and I gain a ton of weight and then I cannot lose it for weeks. It used to be like gain and lose 5 pounds in a couple days. But on a carnivore diet, if you're cheating, and at least for my body, you gain weight quickly and you lose it slowly. So let that be a warning not to fall off the wagon.
So, I mean, I'm a little bit different than this. Ashley, I am like agree with that. Yes, fine dining restaurant. See, I'm like a little bit more flexible, like with myself. Like my son had his 6th birthday and I had a piece of ice cream cake. Now it upset my stomach, but I kind of anticipated that. It takes me 2 to 3 days to kick back that bloat and that kind of like feeling, which if you go into it knowing it, I'm just like a little bit more casual about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's just not something I would do all the time. But if you're like going, I mean, it's a fine dining restaurant, I would be like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to get flagged and kick off of Instagram Live for saying the F word. So I understand that. I would just go into anticipation. I also wouldn't indulge. Like I would never go in and just be like, let's eat all the things. I'd be like, what do I want the most out of this 7-course meal? And what can I leave? Yeah. I just want to see, that's how I am, Ashley. I like, if my son was like, mommy, have ice cream cake. You want some of my ice cream cake? I was like, I can't say no to him. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would just eat like what you want to eat. That's probably shitty advice, but I like get that because I'm a little bit more chill. Anything you do when you get bored of the same meat. I get sick of eating the same thing once because I get like obsessive about something. I'll get obsessive and eat the crap out of it, and then I'll get sick of it. And then I just won't eat it for a couple months or a couple weeks. And then I'll like wake up one day and I'll be like, oh, that sounds really good. I want that again. And then I'll kind of like cycle through my phases of eating and obsessing over different carnivore foods. I don't know if you guys can relate to that.
Yeah, I go through phases of like all burgers and then I want steaks, and usually I'm pretty heavy on the burgers and just fine with that. But yeah, find a different cut, find a different animal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I find that the things that I really love, I never get sick of, which is basically ribeye and fat. I'll never get sick of that. But if I make like 4 chicken thighs or something and I just have 2 and then I don't want the rest, I just throw it in the freezer. There you go. Have your second freezer so that you have this prepared cooked food for when you aren't sick of it.
I did a Q&A yesterday and someone asked me the same question. And my example was I went through a phase where I loved these frozen burger patties from Sam's Club. And then I ate them like every day. And now the thought of eating them makes me want to vomit. Like I can't even think of eating. It's just those burger patties. I've eaten burger patties besides that, but I can't do it. So I understand now. I'm like really into steak bites, like what did I make? The pot roast bites in the Instapot, and bread cheese.
Bread cheese.
I'll never get sick of bread cheese. Okay, someone asked a question and I need to find it.
While you look, I can answer the poop question. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Okay, so it depends. If you're having constipation or loose stools, I feel like people can have issues for up to a few months before everything really like settles in. But if you're constipated, you want to have more fat. And that would be the easiest go-to answer. You can also check your electrolytes, make sure you're eating enough salt, make sure you're having enough water. You can also take a magnesium that will help. If you are having loose stools, then that's usually too much fat, or at least too much rendered fat. So like say you're making ground beef and all that, liquid fat is in there, you may want to dump that out and then add in like a solid fat, like add in some butter. So instead of eating it in liquid form, have it in softer form, and then you won't be running to the bathroom.
For sure. With psoriasis, I had bad joint pain. I noticed that eating the steak the next day with my joint pain was gone. For sure. Yeah, it's all that protein. I mean, Jen, did you have joint pain?
No, lots of people with psoriasis also have psoriatic arthritis, and I love it, so I can't relate to that, but it's the same, mechanism immune system wise. So if it helps your skin, it should help your pain.
Yeah, that's awesome. That means it's working. It's working. Okay, the question in the question box. How do you feel about some carnivores eating fruit? Should I go on my rant, Courtney?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
This is very frustrating to me. I'm not a professional. I just love science. And I have a huge issue with the fruit for people who are metabolically ill. And where that comes from is I like to explain it when we were hunters. You would never ever in a million years have a plethora of fruit in conjunction with a diet that was super high in fatty meat, okay? So it was usually one or the other. They would get their fruit growth in the summer and they would binge eat it in like 1 or 2 days whenever the harvest came through or whatever. And so they would eat berries or whatever fruit they were eating, and they would eat that until it was gone. They would not have eaten fatty meat along with the berries, from what I have been told, and I've talked to some pretty educated people about this. So the issue that I have with people who eat fruit every day along with fatty meat is that just didn't happen when we were evolving as a species. And so when you tell a metabolically sick person, someone who has insulin resistance caused by sugar, and fruit raises your blood sugar, your body is that it's dangerous. So you have like a fatty meat, which is energy, and then you have sugar, which is going to turn into a carb. So both these really heavy energy sources, well, one has to be stored as fat. You cannot be a carb burner and a fat burner, like, you know what I mean? At the same time, you're either burning fat or you're burning carbohydrates. So I hate when people show that. If you are metabolically well, I think for now it's okay. I just think that eventually it will catch up to you. I do not recommend doing high sugar, and high fat in conjunction. We did not evolve that way. We evolved eating meat, and we had produce maybe once or twice a year. I don't know. I just get very passionate about that.
Yeah, I don't eat any fruit either. I don't recommend it, but again, if it's like it's carnivore with fruit or standard American diet, then I guess I would choose carnivore with fruit. But for me, it's just avoiding the sweet tastes because I have such a long history of binging, and I just feel like that would be dangerous territory for me. Also, you know, I don't want to spike my insulin. I feel like a lot of the benefits I'm getting from being a carnivore are from keeping insulin low and steady. And you know, everything that's in fruit, vitamin and mineral wise, is also in meat, and it's bioavailable. You know, you can actually absorb it, and there's no anti-nutrients in the meat. So it's just not necessary, in my opinion.
That's the thing. It's not necessary. People just want to eat it because it tastes good, and it's like getting a free pass because that's what, you know, Carnivore MD is sharing. And I actually started out that way, and it worked for me to like ease into this, I guess. But why I stopped was like 4 weeks in or 5 weeks, I was noticing that I could eat like 2,000 calories of steaks and having that little bit of fruit or syrup. And I wasn't having a lot. Like my carbs were still probably like around 50. Having that little bit of fruit just like triggered like more cravings. Like I just wanted to keep eating even though I wasn't technically hungry. So for me, it triggered more sugar cravings. And I feel like for me also that could be a slippery slope with, you know, binge eating and emotional eating. So that is not on the table for me either. Another thing to look into, I know nothing about this, but I keep hearing this word, is the Randall Effect. It has to do with having fruit and high fat, probably what you were talking about, Devin. So that's something else you guys can dig into deeper.
If you want to listen to someone who is scientifically in tune with all of that stuff, watch Dr. Bart K on YouTube. He is a scientist. He is a doctorate. I believe he holds 2 or 3 doctorates on science and evolution. I would consult that video because you will get the cellular explanation of why we should not be doing that. I'm a newbie. I also think fruit, like a couple months ago, we got a fresh watermelon from Local, and I was like, wow, that sounds really good. And I had just a tiny cup of fresh watermelon like once. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I didn't get a show. I thought, wow, this tastes really good. I could sit here and eat a ton of it, but I didn't eat too much to the point where I was like, wow, I just want watermelon all the time. I'm a newbie. Can you say why fresh garlic or pesto is not good? I need to do some research on true carnivore way of eating. I used to use fresh garlic when I was doing my steaks in the cast iron. I've stopped doing that since, just because my goal was always to get off of like meat seasoned heavily. And I think if you're starting, I did it when I was starting up until a couple months ago, and I think it's okay. It's just a plant, and plants have anti-nutrients, and that's pretty much why all of us do carnivore. And pesto, pesto has like what? Courtney, what is it?
Oil, nuts. Yeah. There's usually
and
like
what is it? Basil. And
yeah.
So
cheese. I mean, you can have cheese, but
that's gonna have like a lot of oxalates in that. So yeah, that's just the anti-nutrients from the plants. Too much meat gets my stomach bad. What can I do? Are you talking about like your stomach gets upset when you eat too much meat? Like, do you get loose stools and like bubble guts?
Did you see the mental health question?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I'm like really trying to keep up with them, but it's like really hard.
That's okay. I kind of remember. Well, first, since we're talking about this, why do I get constipated? You need more fat and upset stomach. Yeah, more fat if you're constipated. The mental health was, anyone else feel less emotional on carnivore? Like I feel more stable emotionally than I did before. It feels like a seatbelt and I feel more in control. Yeah, I mean, I hear numerous success stories of mental health. In fact, I'm probably like 2 weeks off of Zoloft right now, because even though I was still on it, it was never perfect. And I could tell a huge change in my mood after eating this way. Yeah, I hear that a lot, that everyone's, you know, pretty emotionally stable. I don't think I'm going there yet because I'm still like detoxing from all the meds. But yeah, huge difference eating this way.
Yeah,
I'm still unstable.
I never really felt like I had a mental health issue. I haven't been medicated for one or anything, but I do feel like my mental health is better, to the point that I was like, huh, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought before, because it is a little bit more stable. I just feel like generally a little bit more positive. And I just want to backtrack a bit to the person who has stomach pain and constipation. Like Courtney said, add fat, but you may also just temporarily need a digestive enzyme to help you digest the protein, possibly to help you digest the fat. So there's decent stuff on Amazon. Just look at the reviews. If you message me later, I can send you like the actual one I used when I was starting, because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But to digest protein, it needs to have HCl in it. And then I don't know what the ones to digest, what they have in there, but that can help you for a couple of weeks.
Jen, I've never heard of that. And I get asked that question all the time. That is like the most helpful thing ever, because daily I get asked, like, my stomach hurts, like I can't digest this. I didn't eat meat before and now I'm only eating meat. So can you send that to me too? Because super helpful.
Of course. And the main reason I think is we have different bacteria in our gut from eating carbs and sugar and alcohol and all the things. And so then when you start eating the meat, those bacteria are not the ones that are necessarily needed for digesting.
Yeah.
You need to like do some replanting in there.
Cool. And you know what? Dr. Bart K also has a video that talks about the gut microbiome. That's super interesting. That might help you as well, because that's something I'm still like needing to really learn about. Do you ladies drink coffee? It's my last plant. I gave up coffee a couple months ago. I gave it up for 6 weeks and I did not notice a difference when I added it back in, because I was like testing, and it just makes me, we all say the same thing. It just brings me so much joy, and I've already cut it out. Like I cut it out. I didn't feel a difference. I don't feel a difference with or without it. It's like my last thing that I'm like, it just makes me happy, and I don't do anything food wise to like make myself joyful anymore. So, which is great for the food freedom. But you guys can go, because you guys have both gone through this.
So Jen.
Same for me. I gave it up for 30 days and I didn't notice it. I didn't stop desiring it. But I did learn that I don't really need the caffeine, because I was fine without it. So I mostly do drink decaf now, just because. But I love the flavor. I love the cream. But I do toy with the idea sometimes of just giving it up again temporarily, because I tend to probably overdo it a little with the cream. So we'll see.
Yeah, same. I only gave it up for 2 weeks and I replaced it with bone broth. And that was a sad 2 weeks. And same thing, like I don't need the caffeine. I often drink decaf or half calf. It's just, it tastes good. And, if that's my one thing, like I don't miss garlic and onions. My life, I missed coffee. It makes me happy. It's delicious. So if that's like the one plant I'm keeping in, and it's not like you're eating the coffee bean, it's like hot bean water. So it's pretty filtered, and I'm keeping it in. Don't let anybody shame you for not being a perfect carnivore if you want to have that.
People, like, if you say it brings me joy, they shut up about it, because there's nothing to argue about it. Like, it's just like, I wanted to transition from keto to carnivore, and right now I do have a lot of keto friendly foods in my house. Did you go cold turkey and toss them all at once? Toss them out. If you have no one
don't eat them. Don't eat them to get them gone. That's what I would used to do. Oh, these Oreos, I got to eat them before Monday to start my diet over. Yeah, just get rid of them. Don't eat them.
We had 2 of those. Did we cut it cold turkey and just like go all in? I am someone, another thing I wanted to recommend for people who are interested in going carnivore is Dr. Ken Berry's book, Lies My Doctor Told Me, and Judy Cho's book, The Carnivore Cure. I read both of those before going carnivore and just got a lot of information, health-wise, and like advice on how to go about it. So I do recommend those. I know Courtney got it because I like coerced her into getting it, essentially.
Yeah, she forced me to order the Carnivore Cure, but it's awesome because it's a great resource. I haven't read Dr. Berry's, but it's a great resource to like address all the certain things. Like, oh, someone's asking about cholesterol, well, you could flip to it and find it that way. So I definitely recommend. Yeah,
there's tons of graphics to it. It addresses a little bit about the environment. Yeah, throw out all the junk food if you can. Throw it all out. And then go to the grocery store, buy every single meat that you think sounds good, have it on hand, and eat whatever sounds good whenever it sounds good, because your hunger is going to stabilize. It'll just take a couple of days. If you're not hungry, don't eat. When you feel starving, eat. Like I that's like my biggest thing, is that I tell people, like, you don't have to, like, at the first like week or two, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're not hungry, and your food starts tasting like it's not good anymore. If you're not hungry more than once a day, don't eat. Don't force yourself to eat, because that will regulate.
Yeah, I felt like in the beginning, I remember texting my husband when he was at work, and I'm like, I hardly like ate today, and I don't really like feel like it. But
Yeah.
it don't let it worry you, because it does like average itself out and you'll be fine. Things just need to adjust. The fat is very satiating. Since we're talking about groceries and getting started, let me just be annoying and plug myself. I have a free download, a grocery list, a carnivore grocery list. So that just, if you want like a little more guidance on what you're getting, you can download that from my link. But yeah, I feel like this is the only way where I've been able to actually listen to my hunger cues. I can eat when I'm hungry, stop when I'm full. I could have easily eaten a meal and then pound like a package of Oreos, but eating this way, you're not going to go like binge on a steak. Like when you're done, you're done. So yeah, just give it some time. It will all even out.
Somebody asked about intermittent fasting. So I don't, but it sounds like you guys are saying, you know, if you're not hungry, don't eat. So sometimes people do sort of a nonchalant intermittent fast. I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner pretty much every day now myself, and I actually am really into checking my glucose and ketones and stuff. So I can tell you, even without the fasting, I'm still in ketosis.
Yeah, but do you stop after dinner and then not snack till breakfast, like not eat till breakfast, so you're getting that like overnight fast?
Yeah, so I mean, maybe my fast is like 10 hours, I guess, from about 7:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m., something like that. But I mean, sometimes if let's say I make bacon for the next day, I might have a piece of bacon at 9 o'clock or something. But
And by the way, this live will be reposted on all of our pages, and then I usually put my lives up on YouTube. I actually didn't. I have to do the one we did a couple months ago on YouTube. I like completely forgot about it. As for me with the intermittent fasting, I've never liked eating breakfast, so it just gives me an excuse to not eat breakfast. I've never been a breakfast person. It used to drive my mom crazy, because I wouldn't eat breakfast before school. So I skipped breakfast, but I took 2 weeks off of the gym to go stay with my family, and I kicked back up, my routine this week when I got back home, and I am starving in the morning when I wake up. So I started eating breakfast just to my metabolism is ramped up because I'm burning more calories. And so I think I ate at 10 o'clock this morning, which is unheard of for me. So I just honor my hunger cues. I think that's really the most important thing, is to honor your body and what it tells you need.
Yeah, I agree.
How to prevent SIBO. What's SIBO on carnivore, as meat tough to digest? Well, I would use the enzyme. I think that's more of what they're asking. Jen recommended an enzyme. I would just check that out if you're having a hard time digesting meat. But your stomach you should adjust to the meat. I don't know if you ladies agree with that.
yeah, since so many people are asking about that, I'll put the digestive enzymes that I had luck with in my story, and then I'll put that in of links that I love. And also another question that's up there right now: which glucose ketone monitor do I use? It's called Keto Mojo. It's like $50 on Amazon, and there's a link to that on my Instagram as well, in the something like highlight or links I love, I think.
That's what I use when I test my blood sugar too. I don't do it often, but I used to, especially when I started. Do you eat, I should probably put that in the products I love, Jen. So thank you for that.
Sure.
Do you eat wild caught fish, chicken, pork? I hate fish. I will eat seafood occasionally. I would only ever eat wild caught fish. I would never eat farmed fish in my life if I had to. I would never eat it. It's so bad for you. Pork, I do bacon. I'm trying to get into pork belly. Chicken, I do not love chicken, so I do chicken thighs occasionally. How about you guys?
I eat not a lot of fish. But when I do, honestly, I don't get too uptight about the farm raised. I don't know. I eat it so little. I don't know that it matters much. I eat quite a bit of pork because it's almost as good as steak and way cheaper, and a fair amount of chicken, especially thighs and wings and legs.
Oh, wings. I forgot about wings. I love wings.
Yeah, you're obsessed with wings. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just kind of depends on how, like, what your values are and how serious you want to take this. Like, if you're going to be like insanely strict, then ideally you want to eat ruminant animals from a grass-fed, grass-finished, regenerative farm. Okay, well, that's not totally practical for me, at least budget-wise. And I love the taste of this ground beef that I get at Whole Foods for $5 a pound. I love Costco ribeyes. So it really just depends. I mean, if you look at it like, okay, you're eating pork, well, your pigs are going to be eating corn and soy. We're not eating that. So do you want your pigs to be eating that? So it just depends. I mean, I had a big ass plate of bacon this morning. So it just really depends on how, like, not nitpicky, but, you know, like, what's important to you as far as that. And, you know, like your eggs, if the chickens are eating corn and soy, then that's going to go through to your eggs. Seafood, like, our waters are polluted. So it just really depends on personal preference, but ruminant animals would be ideal because they have the 4 different compartments in their stomach. They're eating grass and they process it different than we do. Someone put a question in the box and they want to make sure we're seeing it. Okay. What are the best carnivore supplements to take for weight loss and appetite suppressant?
Absolutely nothing if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Ask a vegan how many supplements they're on. They'll tell you a lot. Carnivores usually aren't on any supplements. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, as far as taking it for weight loss and appetite suppressant, don't do any of that. Just once you shift to this way, your hunger cues are going to start working and you can eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and you'll be fine. If you do want to take some sort of supplement, you can take organ supplements, but that's not going to magically make you lose weight or anything.
Yeah, I agree. With the exception of electrolytes. No vitamins, no supplements. You just don't need any of that.
Yeah, to address the do you eat wild caught fish, shameless plug, I just did a reason on why I don't eat a ton of seafood. So please go watch it. It'll explain a little bit. And then if you love those foods though, if you enjoy chicken and pork and fish, and that makes you stick to a carnivore lifestyle, 1,000,000% do it. If that helps you like stick to a healthier lifestyle and achieve health, then I would say eat as much of that stuff as you want because that's better than going out and eat a pack of Oreos or even like chicken fried rice.
I actually got messaged this week by someone who has this disease. I forgot the name. You guys might have heard of it though. It's where you get bit by a tick and you're allergic to it.
Oh my God, your mammalian meat disease. He's allergic to mammalian meats. Yeah.
Okay, that called it. I forgot what it was, but regardless, some people have this. They cannot eat red meat. And so he and I were kind of talking through how can you be a carnivore if you can't eat red meat? And so for those people, especially, you know, pork and fish and chicken, and then, you know, duck fat and butter, you have no choice if you want to be a carnivore, and you still can. It may not be as ideal, but it's certainly better than the alternative of the standard American diet.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Even if your pigs are eating corn and soy, even if your beef is fed grain, like, don't let anybody meat shame you. Like, if you don't want to buy grass-fed, grass-finished beef because you don't want to spend the money or you can't afford it, then that's fine. Like, eating this way is still going to be so much more better than any other standard American diet. And it's still going to have, they're still going to have all those nutrients. It's just like the grains and the corn and the soy that might not be ideal, but I'd rather the animals eat them than me eat them. So eat what you love, eat what you can afford, and everybody else.
Does the carnivore diet help with weight loss? If that's a major goal? I think all of us will agree on this. I did not do it because I wanted to lose weight. I had a chronic illness that they told me I would never get off of painkillers for, and I absolutely did not want to be on painkillers every day. And that was my goal. and I've lost 31 pounds. Today I hit 31 pounds. I've hit under the 30 mark. My goal was 160 when I started my weight loss, like after having my second baby. I'm at 150 today. And that is like absolutely, I have not been 150 pounds since I was 17 years old, and I'm 30. So
golf clap. That's awesome.
But you guys wanted to heal as well too. It wasn't just about the numbers.
Yeah, I started this for my psoriasis, and it helped me to lose weight and cured my binge eating. So it was like all these bonuses I was never expecting.
Yeah, same. I mean, this is the first time I've gone into eating a certain way that wasn't just focused on weight loss. I was feeling like crap. I needed to make some changes. And I knew the weight loss was going to come along with it. So it wasn't my concern. It wasn't like what has been lighting a fire under my ass. I've been trying to make improvements on my health. So my mental health, my skin, I used to have horrible skin. It's breaking out less. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, my energy was so low before I started this. So that's why I also don't want to do these cheats, because I'm just so motivated by how I feel. The cheats have nothing to do with weight loss. It's not like I'm afraid to like gain weight. I'm afraid I'm going to get set back and I'm going to lose all these health improvements I have. So as far as the weight, I'm like around 27 pounds right now. I've kind of had a stall the last month, which I'm like totally fine with. Other people seem to not be fine with that. Like I need to be losing faster. And I'm like, that's just not my priority right now. It's going to come along. If you are feeding your body the most nutritious things, eventually it's going to settle to its ideal weight. So don't focus on that. Just focus on how you feel.
And I always tell people, I did not weigh myself for 2 months. I didn't weigh myself for 2 months. I started carnivore. I went and stayed with my family for 2 weeks. I came home. No, I started carnivore. I was a month in. I went and stayed with my family for 2 weeks. So I was at the 6-week mark. And then after that 2 weeks, when I came back home and got back into my routine of doing the gym and just eating like I was before I went, I didn't go off of carnivore, but when I went to stay with my family. But once I hit that 8-week mark, I was like, okay, I'm going to check my weight. And I had lost about 16 pounds, but that was so not what I was like trying to achieve. And I didn't want to be too hard on myself. Like, I feel like it's like really hard to check your weight all the time and be like, oh, I'm not losing as fast as I want. I think it's when you're changing your lifestyle, like I wanted to give myself that grace, to kind of adjust and maybe not get the weight loss like that, you know? Okay, 2 months, a day or two a month, I'm starving and then start my period. And I'm like, should have known. Yeah, literally me. I will eat like an insane amount of food when I'm getting my cycle, for sure.
Yeah, but just roll with it. If you're hungry, eat. It all balances out. I'm sure there's going to be a week in the cycle where you don't like want to eat that much. So don't be afraid of if you're hungry. Hi, Amber.
Yeah, hi, Amber. I forgot. I wanted to shout out to you. Ravina, any vitamins? Courtney, you take beef brain, yeah?
Yeah, because I was going off of Zoloft, and so I just wanted any sort of help I could, because I know when I went off in the past, it was atrocious, and the brain zaps I would get. And so this time around, granted, I did do a slower taper. I went rogue from my doctor. She had me off in 2 weeks in January. It was horrendous. So I did a slower one, and I was having beef brain for like 2 months before. So who knows if that played a part. I mean, I'm sure it probably helped a little bit along with the lower dose. But yeah, I do occasionally take other organ supplements, but maybe like once a week because I just don't remember, and it's not that big of a deal. I kind of just think of it as like a multivitamin. It's just a little added bonus.
We love you too, Amber. Yeah, have you ever taken any vitamins, Jen?
No, just those digestive enzymes at the very beginning, and then like electrolytes, not a vitamin. I think I might take some D3 in the winter. I mean, Dr. Anthony Chafee suggests that, and I think that's because we're not getting as much sunlight. But no, we get so many vitamins from the meat. It's like we're taking more vitamins now than we ever were before we were carnivore.
And they're more bioavailable. If I were going to take vitamins, I'm going to be completely honest, I would just get beef, like, what is it? Beef liver, like liver or kidney, and I would eat it raw I would just like cut it into a little cube and swallow it if I felt that I need that. I just like that's like what would be the most available to us. So that's what I would do if that's something you really want. Like if I'm not going to, but if I were to have another baby, I would never take another prenatal vitamin. I would just eat beef liver. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you drink teas for cleansing or immunity? I drink black tea. Like if I go out to dinner, I'll eat an unsweetened black tea just because I like it occasionally. But not for there is no such thing as cleansing, by the way. Your body is the best cleanser that you could ever need. Your organs do all the cleansing, give it what it needs to run and be fueled, and it will get rid of all the crap that you need it to. Do you guys tea? No tea?
No.
No tea. Like I don't keep it on hand. Like it's like if I go out to eat, just to clarify, I'm not like chugging tea. Okay. How did your guys' body change over this journey? Ashley asked. So if she's still in here. Well, I've lost 31 pounds and I am like the strongest I've ever been in the gym. Like my weight is insane with how much I'm able to push myself in the gym. So I'm looking muscular. I mean, I don't look muscular right now, but I look really muscular in person, which is like, I love it.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that about the gym because I'm just now getting back at it. I probably haven't been working out hard in like at least like 6 months. And I was good before. So I was feeling strong. I was able to go in like last week and start with the dumbbells that I left off with 6 months ago. So definitely having all that protein, even though I haven't been working out like I should, like I don't feel like I lost much muscle mass at all. Like I can still do my 20-pound curls and I haven't done it in 6 months. So I'm excited to see what happens now that I start like getting back in the gym. I'm going to be fucking ripped.
You are. Get it, Courtney.
Ashley asked about a workout as a carnivore. So if you want to build muscle, Ashley, you need to be doing the same thing as a carnivore or non-carnivore, which is lifting heavy weights to failure. You know, if it's not hard enough that you can't finish, it's not hard enough and you're not going to build muscle. So my best advice there.
Yeah, that's like weightlifting is like my love in life besides my husband. And I will literally work until fatigue. Like I cannot perform another rep and I will have wanted to do another rep, but I physically cannot do it. So that's what you're saying, Jen, is really push yourself until your muscles are fatigued.
Yes, but as a physical therapist, I have to add the caveat of like build up to that. You don't want that to be your first set of
right.
You could injure yourself. So slowly over the course of your workout, work the same muscle group multiple times. And at the beginning, it should be hard, but at the end, you should be feeling, and that's going to protect your muscles and your joints.
Awesome. We need to do like one about working out. Having hypothyroidism, I take selenium, D, K, B complex, and have to take a pill form of liver as vitamin A was low. I'm 72, fasting 6 to 8 mostly, but extended 20 to 4 to help. I had hypothyroidism for 16 years and I just changed my diet and I went off of levothyroxine. I haven't had to take anything to help with that, but I was on levo since I was 14. So yeah, I was for about 15 to 16 years. I had hypothyroidism, and between keto and carnivore, I've not had any medication since then. Do you ladies eat dairy? I think we all do.
Yeah, I definitely probably am overdoing it a little, having about a quarter cup of raw cream a day, which is so delicious, and probably half a stick of butter. I'm not sure the butter's an issue, but I think when I have a lot of liquid dairy, I do get like a little bit more breakouts and stuff. So that's why sometimes I think maybe I should cut back a little, but it's so good. It's hard for me to do it.
Yeah, same. I feel like I've been overdoing all the bread cheese lately. And I do have lots of cream. I love black coffee, but I also love a lot of cream. I don't want to splash of cream. If I'm gonna have cream, I have a lot. But yeah, I wonder that too. Like, Oh, maybe I did recently break through my stall by doing the 80/20, but I was always wondering for the whole month, like, oh, I should probably stop dairy to get through that stall, and I just never did because it's so good. But yeah, you definitely gotta watch that, I think, if you're having issues. But raw dairy is good, especially for those that might be a little funky in their tummy with dairy. Try unpasteurized dairy.
I like to, because I'm not a dairy person at all. In fact, I did not do almost any dairy, but when I was keto, like I really, maybe some like Mexican cheese, um, but I didn't do any dairy. And actually one of my goals was to be able to like eat dairy and enjoy it, because I just am one of those people who never did. And so I do half and half because I can't do heavy whipping cream. I just haven't gotten to the point where I like that. But bread cheese, man, Courtney really killed me with that one. She really did me in. Yeah, and then like I like to think of it as like a condiment almost, just because I don't eat it, and I never really have. But if I were gonna drink milk, I would drink raw milk, but I can't get it where I am.
Yeah, it's so insane that it's mostly illegal in states, but look at all the garbage they sell at the grocery store, and that's okay. Like, let's not get me started on that.
So do you know we've been going like almost an hour and a half? Which
I know it can go 4
great.
hours easily.
I like to catch before too long, so I can't stay much longer.
Okay, let's wrap it up because we have another call coming soon.
Yeah,
too. So
yeah,
if anyone,
I was gonna say, if anyone has questions we didn't get to or whatever, like feel free to all of us or one of us or whatever, and I think we all would try to get back to you. Or and when we post this replay, right?
mm-hmm, yeah, we'll post it pretty much right after.
Yeah, then answer the questions for everybody.
Yeah, and we probably should just start doing like live Q&As, because I feel like a lot of people have like a ton of questions. Reach out to Courtney, Jen, and I. We are pretty much on, hopping on and checking our messages every day. If you have anything, just message us. I'm like, this is the best live I've done. So many awesome questions. I can't wait for people to watch the replay.
yeah, and so this will be saved. Just put all your questions in the comments. I mean, you can message us, but if you put them in the comments, then everyone else can learn from that too. So that would be awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. That was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Let us know and like follow all of us so we can answer your questions, or you can learn more about carnivore.
Yes, thanks, Jen, for joining us.
Yes, have a safe trip. Post
fun.
lots of pictures, because I guarantee you're going to be like seeing the most beautiful part of this country. So
I can't wait. I will try to keep the pictures to a minimum so I don't overwhelm everyone, but sharing.
And share what you're eating on your hikes.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.